In this lecture, let's rig it up so our laser is only firing when we're properly using the input button of our choice. With the power of the action map, we can actually just create another unique script directly attached to our player ship, because this is where our player input is. We can call that something like player weapon, and then we can actually keep our logic separated between player movement and our player weapon, all rigged up on our player ship directly. In our scripts folder, let's go ahead and do that by right-clicking, create a new mono behavior script, and let's call that player weapon. Let's have a think about what we're actually trying to accomplish. We can basically toggle off and on this emission module as needed to toggle off our laser firing, and we can just basically do that when we're clicking or not clicking whatever input button we want to use. In my case, I'm going to use the left mouse button, but something like spacebar might also make sense. So let's actually have our emission module be off by default at the beginning of our game, and we'll only turn it back on once we click the left mouse button. With our player ship selected in the hierarchy, let's just go ahead and drag on our new player weapon class as a component to our player ship. With this directly attached to the same game object as our player input component, we can now take advantage of a new behavior as long as we properly set that up in our action map, which will introduce us to this lecture's challenge. Using your action map, create a new action called fire, and inside our newly created player weapon class, debug.log to our console, fire, every single time we hit the left mouse button. And as a reminder, once you create your action fire, it will create that behavior that we can use in our C# class called onFire. So you want to make sure you use that appropriately. And a bit of extra credit for those that want to give it a shot, log fire to our console while holding down the left mouse button repeatedly. And then, once you unclick the left mouse button, it'll stop printing it to the console. Now, fair warning, you can definitely just do that directly in your player weapon class using some custom C# code if you'd like to flex your game dev programming muscles, but I'll give you a bit of a hint. There's a super easy way to do that. I'll show you after. So pause the video, give it a shot on your best effort, and when you come back, we'll go through my solution together. Welcome back. The first thing we'd like to do is head into our input folder, player controls, and let's create a new action. We don't need to create a new action map. We can use the same action map, and we'll just go ahead and hit this little plus button, and we'll call this fire. Over here on the right, we'd like to keep our action type button, and then let's just go ahead and bind this to our left mouse button. Now, listen always gives me a bit grievance when I'm actually using my mouse directly, so we'll have to look that up manually. Mouse, left mouse button, and we're all set to go. And before I show you the little action map hack for the extra credit, let's just dive in and complete the beginning of the challenge, and then we'll come back in and I'll show you a little trick. So save asset, we'll close that out, and then we can open up our player ship, double click our player weapon, and we'll open up our newly created class in VS Code. I'll start out just by deleting our start and update. We don't need that for now. And let's create our onFire method. So that'll be public void onFire. Now we will eventually want to pass through the input value just as we did before. So let's just go ahead and do that now. We'll get it out of the way. Usually VS Code is smart enough to know, even though we haven't imported the input system namespace, it'll prompt us that it's going to need it. And essentially once you autocomplete just with tab, you can go ahead and see that it's going to import the namespace that we'll need. Just like before, we can call input value, passing that through as a parameter. And for now, let's just debug.log fire, just like we recommended in the challenge. Let's head back into Unity and just make sure that's rigged up correctly. Press play, and directly in my game view, if I left click with our console open, every single time I left click, we've got that nice little debug.log. Great, working correctly, but we've got a bit of an issue. You can see if you hold down the left click mouse button, it's only going to fire once. Let's head back into our player weapon class to get that just firing every single time we're holding down the left mouse button. I'm going to actually save this value as a bool directly up top, just as a private bool at the top of the class that we can access in other methods. We'll just call that bool is firing, and we'll set that to false at the beginning. And directly in our onFire method, let's set that bool we just created, is firing, equal to the value that we're passing through as this method. You can see we've got a few different options here after we use the dot operator. We've got get. We used that before to get the vector2 value. However, in our case, somewhere in here, I think I already passed it, but I already know it's is pressed, which is going to return a bool, just letting us know if our input value is actually pressed or not. So value.isPressed, semicolon. Next up, this is only going to actually fire the exact frame that we pressed down the left mouse button. So we're going to want to set something up in update to do it every single frame like we were chatting about. So let's go ahead and create our update function. And inside of update, let's just keep things separated. Let's create another private function called process firing. Inside of here, let's use that debug.log we were using before. We'll just call it debug.log fire. And we'll just do a little check to see if our bool up top is firing is true or false, and we'll only debug.log if it's true. So if is firing, then go ahead and debug.log fire. Let's just make sure my indentation is correct. And let's just use process firing directly in update. I think we've got that rigged up correctly. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like back in Unity. Let's go ahead and hit play and see if that works. All right. I've left clicked, I'm holding down my left mouse button, and we're working. Or are we? A bit of a gotcha. If you actually let go of your left mouse button, it's just going to keep debug.logging fire to our console, so something's definitely not working. Well, that's because we're only triggering the bool to true when we click the left mouse button down, so it's always going to return true, but nothing's actually happening or triggering in the Unity event system when we let go of the left mouse button. So you could probably figure out a clever way to do that within our custom player weapon class, but like I said before, I've got a nice simple way to do that in our input action map. So let's open back up our player controls. In our fire action over here to the right, you've got what's referred to as an interaction, and we can give our action properties a bit more logic. Hit the plus button, and then we can select press. You can see by default, the trigger behavior is only when it presses down. But if you change this drop down to press and release, it's going to fire a Unity event while we both press down the input and let it go. So when we let it go, it's actually going to change that is firing bool in our custom class to false. Let's go ahead and save that asset, give it a play in Unity, and see if that works. All right, we're firing and we let go, and our console properly stops. Now all we need to do is just a little bit more additional logic to toggle that emission on our laser particle system, and we're all set to go. So let's take note of how we actually access this in C#. We've got our laser, great. We can just expose that as a game object in the inspector. That's easy enough. We want to gain access to this particle system. Easy enough. We want to go into this emission module and then just toggle this active to inactive back and forth as needed. So easy peasy, right? Let's head into our player weapon class and we'll finish that off. We can expose that laser game object. We'll use that as a serialized field. And we'll just use a game object for now. We can call that laser. And in our process firing method, instead of this logic here, we can just grab our emission module. So because we took a mental note of the order of how we're accessing things, we can just go into our laser game object .get component. And then we want to go into the particle system component. And then we just want to go into our emission module. But we probably want to save that to some sort of variable. Now, 99% of the time, I like to reference my variables as explicitly as possible. In other words, I'm going to use float or an int or a game object or a particle system and so on and so forth. But every once in a while, it can be helpful if we just implicitly declare something var. And I'll show you why in just a second. For now, let's just save this variable that we just gained access to, and we'll just call it emission module. So why did I do that? Sometimes explicitly finding things in the Unity docs can be a little bit tricky. Now I know only because I just looked this up that this one is particle system .emission module. So you could keep it as this, but C# is smart enough to know that if you just name something var, while the code is compiling, it'll go up and actually find that emission module for us. So I think implicitly using var most of the time, probably not necessarily a good idea, even though there's nothing inherently wrong with it. But I think this is kind of one of those exceptions where it seems to make a little bit more sense. And frankly, it just looks a little bit cleaner to me. Now that we have that emission module, we can just go into emission module .enabled, and then we can just set this to true or false as needed. Well, hey, handy dandy, we've already got that bool for us created, is firing, and hunky-dory, we're all set to go. Let's go see how we did back in Unity. All right, back in Unity, let's blow up our game view, hit play, and I made a boo-boo. It looks like we just haven't assigned our player weapon, specifically our laser, to our player weapon class. So let's go ahead and do that. Our player weapon, we've exposed the game object laser. Let's just drag that bad boy in there and give it another shot. Hold down the left mouse button, we're in business, let it go. Nice, and we've stopped firing. We've got a little bit of a game on our hands in the works. We're looking good, we're feeling good. That's all I'd like to accomplish in this lecture, but I think it'd be pretty cool if we had dual lasers, and that'll also help us explain a few new teaching concepts. When you're ready to move on, I'll see you in the next one.